Hi, this is Phil Collins of Def Leppard, and you're watching CMS TV.
And what's going on, everybody? It is Chris Akin, and I am back once again with another edition of Chris Akin Presents. Hope you guys are having a great day. I'm getting there. But we're going to talk about something kind of fun. Maybe you guys will hate this. I don't know, but we'll see. Let's talk Def Leppard, huh? Now, if you listen to the Classic Metal Show, you know Neely and I actually enjoyed their latest song, Rejoice. And it was the first time in forever that we've really enjoyed something from Def Leppard. And it led me to start thinking about, what has gone on with them. And we've talked about this numerous times on the CMS about how Def Leppard is one of those bands that the first albums were so good that you just can't help but always wish and hope that whatever comes out next would be good. And 99% of the time it is not. It has not been. It has been a failure. It has been a tough listen. Now, I'm going to be honest. Unlike a lot of people, especially people that listen to the CMS, I'm a little more forgiving than most people with Def Leppard. I don't hate everything that's come out after the way that the way that most people do. Most people, they kind of start with the first two records, and everybody sort of agrees that those two are brilliant. People love Pyromania, but they felt like it got a little commercial, and then Hysteria was so candied that some people love it, some people hate it. I love it personally. I think Hysteria is a great record. So, but I know it comes with a bit of trepidation. They are definitely one of those bands that is way overproduced, always have been since they found success. And I think the first two records weren't overproduced. And I think that's why people love them so much. But they went on to have tremendous success. So you can't really fault them for that. They're trying to be professional musicians. So what I decided to do was start with Hysteria, which is more or less the cutoff point. I think even people that don't like Def Leppard, they can find a song or two that they like on Hysteria. Certainly, I don't care how macho you are, you've hummed Pour Some Sugar on Me in your head at least once. So come on, y'all know that it's true. Whether you admit it or not, I don't care, but it's fine. So what I decided to do was kind of go through the records that have come after Hysteria and give you my top 5 listing. I'd love to hear what your top 5 is on this. Feel free to leave it in the comments. Tell me that I'm crazy. Tell me I'm right on. Tell me which ones I'm missing. Whatever. They've had quite a few albums after Hysteria. I don't know that any of them are brilliant, but I think some of them are decent, and we'll talk about it. So let's get into it. Here are the top 5 albums after Hysteria. I'm going to start from the bottom and move my way up. To me, number 5 came out in 2015. That was the self-titled Def Leppard record. I'm not going to lie to you. This is not a great record. That being said, I think it gets shit on way more than it should. I think it had a couple of good songs, 2-3 good songs on it. Let's Go was okay. It was the first single. I think a lot of people just heard it and were like, that's typical boring Def Leppard. It's not a terrible song, though, if you actually give it a listen. Not bad. But there are some songs that are pretty good on this thing. Dangerous was pretty good. Cheesy as shit, but Man Enough was okay. And We Belong. Those are all, and they're right up at the top. So if you listen to those, those are probably top end of what defines the Def Leppard era after Hysteria. Not super fast, not real heavy. Playing into that kind of sweet David Bowie rock thing that Def Leppard has been doing for a long time. So for me, number 5 would be Def Leppard from 2015. All right, moving on to number 4. we get to the one that is probably the most controversial in the band's history, that, of course, being Slang. Slang came out in 1996. It came out after the whole rush of things to become grunge. It didn't work for Def Leppard at all. But I think this, at least the reason I put it here and didn't leave it off the list completely is, at least with Slang, they were trying something different. And I don't love it. In fact, I really don't listen to it a whole lot. But at least they were going for something. At least it wasn't just the same old tired redo that Def Leppard has become synonymous with. And it had some decent songs. All I Want Is Everything is a pretty cool ballad. Breathe a Sigh is another pretty cool ballad. Work It Out was okay, which was the single, I believe. Not terrible, not great. At least they were, like I said, at least they were trying to do something different. So, number 4, Slang from 1996. Moving forward, let's get to number 3. We are looking at Diamond Star Halos from 2022. Again, this is latter Def Leppard sounding stuff, so it's not heavy, or it's not, it's not going to fool you into thinking that it's Let It Go or Bringing on the Heartbreak or any of those things that just had that energy and that fire. It's produced like crazy. But again, these guys can write some songs with hooks. And if you can get past the fact that it's not one of the big four and you just take it as what it is, which is a decent listen, this is not a bad album. Kick was pretty good. SOS Emergency had some fire to it. Fired Up's okay. Take What You Want. These are decent tracks. Not the best, not the worst. This album was kind of interesting to me because you could tell they were sort of trying to sound like the classic sound, but at the same time not giving up the stuff that they had been giving us with, X and Self-Titled and, those types of records. So not a horrible record, but not great. It's okay. I won't lie. I pull it out every now and again and give it a listen. It fills a half hour, which is cool.
Hey metalheads, tired of waiting for new episodes? Crave the real raw classic metal show? For just $4.99 a month, you can become a CMS VIP. You get every episode a full week early, completely uncensored, and 100% commercial free. It's the only place to interact directly with the show, plus you score the Fast Pass, so your song requests get bumped straight to the head of the line on every live version. So what are you waiting for? Subscribe right now at classicmetalshow.locals.com and become a CMS VIP today.
All right, moving forward. Number 2, Def Leppard's top 5 after Hysteria. I'm going to go with Euphoria. This was the comeback album, allegedly. This was when they said, you know what? We're going to stop fucking around and we're going to go back to being Def Leppard again. This came right after Slang. Slang was a flop. Fans hated it. And they were like, well, what do? We got to go back to basics. And they did go back to basics. And there are some really, really good songs on this record. Promises, which was the single, that sounds like vintage Hysteria era Def Leppard. Paper Sun, that's a really, really great song as well. I would put that up as one of the better songs that Def Leppard has ever done. Certainly a great song. Back in Your Face was catchy to me anyway. I'm back in your face. That's pretty catchy. Demolition Man, pretty solid tune. Just overall, this is a solid record. Again, it's not the classic era. And I honestly, there's a big part of me that just doesn't think that they have that in them anymore. Like, they blew it all out with Hysteria and Pyromania and our number 1 album, which I'll get to in just a second. But I do think that losing Steve Clark had such a hit on this band and much more. Nothing against Vivian Campbell. Obviously, we know Vivian can play heavy. He played in Dio, for God's sakes, and he wrote and played on 2 of the best Dio records, if not the best 2 Dio records. So he certainly can, but I just don't think the band allows him to stretch out like that. Now, I've been seeing rumors online that they're saying the new album's going to be heavy and fast and blah, blah, blah. Sure it will. I'll believe that when I see that. I'm not going to believe that ahead of time. But for now, number 2 of the albums after Hysteria, Euphoria from 1999. And that leads us to the number 1 release since Hysteria. It's probably not a shock at all, but it is the follow-up to Hysteria. It is Adrenalize. Adrenalize, I love this record. I don't care if people hate it or not. It's way slick. I'm not going to pretend it's not. They took what they did with Hysteria and they absolutely ran it through the copy machine and did their absolute best to recreate Hysteria. And it did not work fully. And that's really what comes out of it is there's a lot of really good songs on this one. I would argue that every song on this album is good, but I don't know that there's a great one on it. Let's Get Rocked. Obviously, that one, that sounds just like a song that didn't make Hysteria, and it may have been. Honestly, it may have been. And if I'm not mistaken, Tear It Down was on this, and that was a song that didn't make Hysteria, and that's a great jam as well. But there's other ones too. Heaven is a good song. Again, going to the cheese factor. This song is cheesy as shit, but I ain't gonna lie, when you hear it, you just keep singing it. That Make Love Like a Man song. It's pretty cheesy. Cool ballad with Have You Ever Needed Someone So Bad. White Lightning was okay. Tonight was pretty good. It's a good record. I don't want to say that it's not. I don't want to say that it's great. But but that's where we are. It's a solid effort after Hysteria. If you haven't checked it out in a while, go back and give it a listen. It might have grown on you a little bit, or then again, you might be like so many and Def Leppard is dead to you and it will sound like shit to you. But whatever. Check it out if you are so inclined, all right? So to recap the top 5, at number 5 was Def Leppard. At number 4 was Slang. At number 3, Diamond Star Halos. Number 2 would be Euphoria. And of course, number 1 is Adrenalize. Well, those are my 5. What's your 5? Is it a different order? Is it those 5? Do you have Yeah and X and those records mixed in here somewhere? Leave it in the comments. Let me know. Let me know if you dig those or what you've dug, if you've dug anything, or even if you think they died with Hysteria. That's fine too. Leave a comment. Let me know. Make sure you're doing all the other podcasty stuff. Please like, subscribe, share, take it home and share it with your mother, whatever you need to do. But help the channel grow. Would you please? Thank you. All right, and that's going to do it for this episode of Chris Akin Presents. Make sure you check me out every single Saturday night on the Classic Metal Show. That is 9 p.m. to 3 a.m. Eastern. And make sure, if you're not already, that you become a local subscriber. That is classicmetalshow.locals.com. It's the best place to keep up with me and the Classic Metal Show and the Seth Williams Show and, of course, Chris Akin Presents. So do that, please, and thank you. And that's going to do it. I am done. Until next time, I have been Chris Akin, and guess what, folks? Haven't said this in a while. I will be again tomorrow. See ya.
Dawkins' greatest hits just dropped on limited edition red and purple splatter vinyl. That's right, 10 freshly recorded, balls-to-the-wall anthems, Breaking the Chains, In My Dreams, Alone Again, Dream Warriors, Tooth and Nail, and more. This splatter beast is pure 80s hair metal glory, now sounding heavier and meaner than ever on your turntable. Smash the link at the bottom of your screen right now and own Dawkins' greatest hits on splatter vinyl.